The value of teaching cannot be underestimated because it's pretty much responsible for the survival of civilization as a whole. When we have teaching, we're able to actually save people the trouble of going through the experience themselves, and just passes the knowledge around much quicker. It's just much more efficient for a way of society to function. It's passing knowledge on, so generations just pass the what's it called, the lessons on to each other just from generation to generation. I've spoken before as well on this channel about how we can't just start from the ground up in terms of knowledge and research every single generation, because that would just be impossible, unsustainable. We wouldn't get anywhere. Our knowledge would just plateau each time like a bloody sine function. It just won't work. What we have to do is keep building on the knowledge of those who have came before us, and we do that by learning from them, and they teach us. That's the value of teaching. It makes others learn faster than from experience, so they don't have to go through the tribulations themselves, because the person who can actually have the authority to teach is teaching it. They've already went through the trouble, so they can save many other people the trouble of doing it themselves. And that's a great thing, because it just saves a lot of energy as a whole, and we can conquer problems much quicker then. It makes your sacrifice worth something, even beyond just your own ambitions and goal reaching, because you're helping other people avoid having to make the sacrifice of time, energy, and possibly money to get that thing. That's why teaching is just so valuable. It's just basically pouring excess knowledge to help others. You don't need this knowledge anymore. It's just flooding your brain, so you can just tell someone else, and then they can inherit it for you, and then they can use it for themselves, make the world a better place, pass it on again. That's why teaching is so important, because we don't get flooded with our own ideas. We can just tell it to someone else, and that person can use it for something that, in a place where it might be more useful. Because all knowledge becomes obsolete to people at some point, unless it's religion or something. Like, not everybody needs to know the Greek alphabet forever if they're just doing a song in Greek. Very random example, I know, but yeah, that's pretty much it. It reinforces it yourself, and yeah, that's pretty much about how teaching just makes it significantly easier to remember the stuff yourself, because when you're teaching it, it's kind of a form of studying. Let's say you're studying with someone else in physics. If you're going to be telling someone else how to do a problem, you're going to articulate it in a way that it's going to be even more digestible to you yourself. And if you were only half sure about the problem, you might be 90%, 100% sure afterwards, and that's an invaluable transformation that you can have just from telling someone else you know it now completely. That's another benefit of teaching. And when you teach as well, after a while you start to amass this wisdom. You know all the objections involved and people who might possibly be learning. You know what people are going to say about to so-and-so advice, and you have the argument for it, and you're prepared to defend your methods. Just makes, again, the style of teaching much more easy and sustainable. You know, if someone's going to say, yeah, but what if I offend that person? Well, then you can just say, they're not going to be offended, trust me, we've tried before, not going to be offended. The method of teaching is, firstly, well, I'd say when you've done something extremely difficult by yourself, you pave the road from halfway to the end. So let's say you have a bunch of people who are kind of halfway there, you help them the rest of the way, because that's just where you've came from. You've literally just came from finishing what you've done, and you're just a little bit ahead of them, and so it's going to be more relatable that way. So first of all, you pave the road halfway to the end for those people who are halfway or further on. Then you can generalize a bit more, and you can pave it the whole way, so from the beginning to the end. That way you're just more used to where those people who have came to your way halfway, you know what they've just been struggling with, you know what they've just overcame, so now you can actually craft a way to build up a bridge to even the halfway point yourself, and that can help the people the whole way rather than just the second half. And that's a very useful thing when you're talking to complete noobs, because then you can relate with them in some other way. And this, in the end, allows you to become an authority on whatever topic you're teaching. So if you're teaching how to blog, then that's a great thing, because you're becoming more knowledgeable in it yourself, and you can teach people how to reach great audiences. Then you can go again, study further, teaching how to actually make a blog for the people who are just beginning. So firstly, you help the people who are halfway there, then you help the people who are beginning. And again, you are passing this knowledge on, so even if you get hit by a truck tomorrow, it's still with someone, and you make others learn faster due to your experience. And again, any sacrifice or pain or misery or hardship you went through when learning that thing, it becomes worth even more when you share with someone else, because they can avoid that timely effort, and their energy is converted into something that can be stacked on top. So you know how you paved the basic road, they can pave an even more advanced road, because they still have the life force to do it, let's be honest. So yeah, this is like all of it put together. It reinforces it for yourself as well. You're pouring excess knowledge and you become the authority.